Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's weekly watch list. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend and are looking forward to getting back to trading. So let's take a look here at the overall market here to get a picture of where we could be going this upcoming week. So looking at the ES futures here, we can see that it is now having some bearish structure within its setup here. We have no more stacked EMAs. We're in a deceleration stage, and we've started to reject this 21 EMA now to the downside. We've done it once here, we flushed down, we did it again here, and we flushed down. I do think this week we will get a reversion back to this 21 EMA before potentially continuing to the downside. So I think the first 2 days, probably Monday and Tuesday, we'll get that reversion, and then maybe Wednesday we will start to fall again, all depending on how obviously the overall market will move. But that is just something that I think could potentially happen earlier on in the week. So that's kind of what I'm looking at with the ES. Now if we go over to the Qs, similar story here. You got that rejection of the 21, you flushed, you rejected it again, and flushed. It's sitting at a little bit above that -2 ATR, and I think just like the ES, we'll get that reversion before we get more selling pressure coming back onto the stock. So very similar situation where the ES is. Now if we go look at the Dow here, this one, yes, is still in a bearish setup as well. This one has reverted back to the 8 EMA as of now, so this one could see the selling pressure happen before the other ones, or it also could get that reversion back up to the 21 like I think the other ones will eventually do earlier this week. We will just have to see how this one opens up at, because it is not at an extended level like the other ones are, and could see some selling pressure right away. And now last but not least, if we look at the Russell. So the Russell is the only indice that actually closed above the 21 EMA and is holding relatively good bullish structure. We don't have stacked EMAs, but that is just because the stock itself, or the indice itself, has just been pinging back and forth here in this channel. So its EMAs can't really spread themselves out. But if we do look at this one, we have this daily squeeze setting up. We're getting this first yellow histogram bar, which is gaining some bullish momentum. Hopefully we can see this push up to have the histogram above that zero line, which then will give me a better indication that this will start to fire to that upside to maybe touch that upper part of the channel here. But this indice compared to the other ones does look the most bullish across the board. So now the 5 plays that I'm actually going to be looking at for this upcoming week. Some are long, some are short, just depending on how the market is going to start moving the early part of the week. So it's kind of based off how the market's going to move. But the first one I am looking at, and it is going to be to the short side, is Berkshire Hathaway here. So you can see that it broke below that 21 here. We're breaking below the 50 here, rejecting that 50, and we're also staying below that 21 EMA now, which is having definitely a nice bearish structure on this stock. We have a daily squeeze starting to form again, and I think that if we can get a push back up here to this 21, that would be a great entry to look to the short side on this one because of its structure and it not having any stacked DMAs, and it also is in a deceleration stage as well. So I'm hoping, as I said with the indices, that we do get that reversion so most stocks can come back up to that 21 before we get more selling off here in the market. The next one I'm looking at is Beyond. So if we look at this one, you can see it is in a great downtrend here. It just keeps coming right up to that 21 and then just rejecting it to the downside, come up to the 21 and rejecting it. So I'm just waiting for this one to revert back to that 21 before I will also get short on this one as well. We also do have a daily squeeze setting up nicely with good bearish momentum coming into it. So I do like this trade to the downside as well. So now Microsoft is the next play. I like this one to the downside as well, just due to its structure being now bearish. I would like to see it fill this gap at basically 293. So if we can get to that level, fill the gap, I think from there it'll start to roll over again, and basically at that level is where the 21 EMA would be. So that is a perfect level in my mind to start getting short on Microsoft to see it flush farther to that downside. So just waiting for this price to regain that level before shorting it again. And now the next one I am looking at is Virgin Galactic. You can see we do have a daily squeeze. That's just histogram has been way below that zero, and nothing about it has been looking bullish. Have been rejecting that 21 EMA. We do actually have negatively stacked EMAs, which is even more indication of bearishness. We're in deceleration. We just keep rejecting the 21 EMA. So I am liking this one as well. If we can get that push back up to around $25, that would be a great place, I think, for an entry to get short on this one. So those are the short trades that I'm looking at. I do have one long trade just because its structure is still holding so well, even with this market flushing the way it has been, and it is Tesla. So if we look at Tesla, everything about this is very bullish. We have stacked DMAs, we're in an acceleration stage. We do have a low compression squeeze setting up. Our histogram is above that zero line, and we're trading well above the 21. If we get another flush to this 21, I may take a small position to the long side, even though the market itself does not look the best to the long side. But there are always honey badger stocks within the stock market that aren't always going to follow what the overall market does, and I think that Tesla could be one of those, kind of doing whatever else it would like to do. Another thing to look at here with Tesla is the fact that its weekly squeeze is now firing. We've only had 2 weeks of the squeeze actually being firing. We have earnings on the 20th, and I think you could definitely get a lot more buying up until that earning level, so it could be good for the next few weeks as well. So these are the stocks that I'm looking at for the upcoming week. Hopefully they all give you a better understanding of some plays you could potentially look at and the levels to get into those plays at. So let's go out there and have it be a wonderful trading week.